Okay, I think we're live now, guys.
I got my message. Let me tell you which one it is for.
Facebook seems to know we're live. So, hey, Facebook, welcome. Good evening. Big Brother 22 All Stars. These are some of the best All Stars ever. We are now into week 7, and we're here covering this season here on Super Mater Brothers Podcasting. I'm Dave Mater, joined with my brother Jeff Mater and co-host Jaemeel Robinson to cover this season of reality TV. Watching what has been something maybe years in the making. This is one of the greatest seasons of all time. The players here are at another level. Like, this is what happens when greatness meets greatness. Players bred for this. Jeff, thoughts? What do you think of tonight's episode?
Just don't understand. I tell you the truth, and I just get this. I just get this reaction, and nobody listens to me, and nobody cares about what I think.
Yes. Jaemeel, how do you feel at this hour? Well, if you had to, maybe pick a couple adjectives or just emotions in general, what would you use?
Weariness.
Mm-hmm.
Just defeated. And it's not even like people I like aren't winning and therefore I'm unhappy. It's not even that. Like, I can deal with people I cheer for not winning. That's cool. That happens. But it's just like to see like the laziest type of strategy just succeed, and it seems that the people who aren't in that strategy are just like falling upon themselves, seeing who can lose better, it seems, or lose worse.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the only competition that's happening right now. It's just
the only thing of significance that's happening in the house is the fact that Cody can't eat tacos.
Congratulations, Cody.
That's the most significant headline at this hour.
Cody,
I don't have to get to eat tacos.
I don't have to eat then? Huh?
So
yeah.
they skipped all the other parts of it.
He was not impressed with Cody and the whole this whole thing where apparently Davon was going to pick Kevin, and Christmas overheard this from above, looking down upon them. She was passing by. That was how they connected the dots for us, apparently.
From Mount
Super
Olympus.
creepy, by the way, that she was listening to their...
And I don't understand, but Christmas and Cody, like, I was starting to just accept the fact. This part was the episode tonight where I was like, you know what? This is just what happens, like this is just natural order. The tiger is going to eat the prey. And that's what's happening with these like weaker players who we want to cheer for, Kevin, Davon, and David. Now, they're just getting played. They're just they like
playing themselves.
They're playing them. I don't know.
They're
like
even thinking like Kevin, 5% chance that Nicole flipped on you. Really, 5%?
Well, I get it. David is the boy who cried wolf, and now there's no credibility because the people who are not in this alliance, they're not in this alliance because I think that they bring nothing to the table, right? Like, they're all liabilities, Kevin included. Davon and David, I think, we're more clear on what their individual character flaws are. Kevin is more of just like this, please like me, don't target me. Maybe I can survive another week on the block, and maybe I can ride my way to second place if I'm lucky. I don't know what he's thinking. But it's hard to root for these people. But then when this whole like have not thing happened tonight where David and Davon respectively picked Christmas and Cody, I was like, you know what? No, screw these people. Screw Cody. Screw his whole alliance. He's running this whole game, and now he's mad he can't have his tacos or whatever.
Yeah.
So
they took his tacos away from him. David did.
That was the best. With just David, Kevin. Kevin was just eating the taco and like trying to shove it down. He's like, I thought you were gonna pick Kevin. He's like,
He just finishes the taco.
Christmas is also furious that she doesn't get tacos.
She was eating a taco. She had a taco.
Yeah, she had to put
best
the taco
quote. The best quote of the night was like,
down.
"Oh yeah, I put her on the block, and now I'm a have-not. I'm furious."
Oh, we're doing tit for tat now.
I guess
Well,
we're doing tit for tat. I guess when you do things, they somehow come back to bite you in the ass later. I don't get it. I don't understand how this game works.
I swear.
Nobody knows how this game works, or they can't agree on how this game works at the very least, or what, or how, that's the bigger issue at hand. But oh man, okay, Memphis wins this HOH coming into tonight, and the committee continues their dominance here of this season. Like I said, the Predators could eat the prey. Like how can you argue with it? They've run the table. They've won every HOH, most of the vetoes. They've acted like complete brats and children when they don't get their way. In particular, Cody, Nicole, Danny, and I guess Christmas in particular. But that they're highly successful. And if you're just a student, an admirer of Big Brother, then isn't this good?
No, because we're not getting a full sense of the show. When the show is complicit in terms of like what Nicole did last week, in terms of her trying to snow the casuals with her ploy to I'm so sad that I have to remember how to do everything like that. Practicing her speech, saying on the feed that she's only doing this because she doesn't want to appear like a monster, right? Fixing and checking herself to make sure that she's presentable before she presents herself in front of Ian after her fake crying. Like, none of that is being talked about, right? They totally skipped over that. And the first episode where they can actually address it, they address it in a way where it's like, oh, it was just like, it was like secondhand, and was just like, no, we're just screwing over Davon and Kevin and them. Not the fact that she was totally fake. They totally did not hold her accountable for the actions. We've seen stuff like this before. Like, they won't address certain things until it becomes a bigger issue. You saw it when it came to Aaron and Gina Marie and company, with all the microaggressions and racist stuff that they were saying. It wasn't until that they were out of the house and the feedback was so strong that they finally addressed it, right? And it looks like we're just gonna let things slide in terms of how Nicole is acting and how the house is acting and all these other things. We won't present it on the show, so we don't want to upset the casuals on what's really going on. It's just frustrating.
Okay, devil's advocate here, Jaemeel. Like in the case of Aaron Grease from BB15, who you mentioned, and I'd also like to mention Christine, who was the one from BB16, who was also booed on the way out of the of her eviction, if you recall, for a lot of cuddling with Cody in particular, being a married woman. That was frowned upon by a lot of the live feeders. Now, could there be just the Allison Grodners of the world, the people, the Rich Means, the people who are the producers behind the show, just they're like, we don't want to destroy somebody's life by giving them a bad edit, and there could be something.
You're not destroying someone's life. You're presenting the show as it's actually occurring, as opposed to just like Survivor is able to get away with this because they have a narrative like that they can look at all the information, right? Like the season is done and they can pick out, okay, which storylines we want to present and which don't. Big Brother is an ongoing one, so you should be presenting as many important storylines as possible, right? This is an important storyline. It's an important storyline that makes one of the characters on your show look bad, but it's still an important storyline. And they are doing their very best to present it in the most positive way, even though that isn't the case.
But why? Why do they care what Nicole Franzel's public image is?
that is a very good question. Why do they care so much about her public image that they are tiptoeing around things like they are?
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, do they just like her? They have a personal relationship with her. Like, we know that they like certain people. Like, we know that they like Davon a hell of a lot too, and like they keep putting her into casts of things. And
I think they
CBS
like
in
how
general, I'm
Davon
talking about.
acts. I don't think they necessarily like Davon. They like Tyler. They like Cody and the California family, right? They love Jordan and whatever. What's his
Big Jeff?
huh? Yes,
Oh, Jordan and
Big
Coach.
Jeff Jerk
Jeff
Schnorter, whatever shorter.
Like, so all the
whatever.
people who are successful, this season and in general with the Big Brother casting process, in terms of especially with returning, that these are the people that just production likes. Maybe that's who this cast is.
Yeah.
On some level.
Yeah, sort of. Some of it's also people they know are popular.
When they say all stars, we're not talking about great players. We're talking about people that they can easily work with, maybe.
People that, as Davon said, this is Big Brother All Stars, aka people who said yes.
Yeah, people who
That's the
said
direct
yes.
quote. She said that.
There are people
Much
that-
like
that
the
are
first
like-
Survivor All Stars, I believe.
Yeah. People who should be there for this one, couldn't be. Like Rachel Riley should be there, obviously, but she's pregnant. There's certain players. Not that I love Rachel Riley, but she should be there. Like she's one of the all-time players. Like Dan Giesling should be there. If you're gonna do an all-time great season, then put some. Derek would be there. All the best players would be there. Instead, we have David and Kevin and Davon, and they've proven over and over, especially Davon, that they're not good at this game. They're not. They if you can't suss out the fact that Nicole might have lied to you and you just immediately turn your blinders on and just assume it's going to be David, then you've already convinced yourself it's nothing David really even.
But is it David's
No.
fault?
No,
Is it
It
David's
is
fault?
David's
for
fault. It is
he
David's
lied
fault.
about the
No,
power.
not
He
in
made
this
himself
instance.
untrustworthy.
My opinion, it's not. In my opinion, it's Davon and Kevin's fault here. For them to not be able to figure out the truth here, really, it just shows how amateur of a player is there.
True. I agree with you. I agree that they both look equally bad. Like David looks bad. All three of these people who are in a bad spot, the two people who end up nominated at the end of this, and the third person who's clearly this backdoor target, it shows that they don't deserve to be here. They certainly don't deserve to go further than they have. And I guess, then we have to kind of watch this play out while they one by one get picked off. And
Aren't
we
we
have
being
to
a
watch.
little results oriented though? Because they're not in the big huge alliance, so like mistakes that other people in the alliance would have made aren't really being presented because they're not going to make any mistakes. They already have aces up their sleeves in comparison to playing from the bottom. Like Kazar is not a bad player, but he looked like a bad player this season, right? Janelle is not a Ian, right? Like his strategy is totally fine if it wasn't this mega alliance that just like had its hooks into everything, right? So you had these people just like they're playing from behind.
But isn't that what you have to anticipate? Like, I don't understand how you don't anticipate that. That's the game. That's the playbook of the last few seasons, especially players like Tyler.
It's always a big alliance. Everybody knows it.
Especially players like Cody.
It should be obvious if you're not in it.
Incredibly obvious. Like, I don't understand. Like how Davon should know better. But
she was in a big alliance, but the big alliance was a fake alliance.
Yeah, but what does she think she's in now? What is she's like,
one.
who will Memphis put up? I can't figure out who his nominees would be. Are you for real? Like they haven't. Nobody can figure out that Memphis is in this majority alliance. That's like the great magic trick of this season.
He's such a good player, Dave. Memphis. He's just playing them all. He's such a good player.
It's a combination of production pressure, like these pregame alliances. What's suiting certain players who have the most influence? It's a couple
Memphis tonight. Is there anyone more condescending than Memphis, just in everything
No.
that he does, winning competition.
More condescending.
He's like the most condescending Big Brother player I've ever seen. Like he is like literally smug. Like
I was watching this with my sister, and then when he started talking to David, she's like, I'm going to bed. I'm not even. I can't even. Yes, I know who's nominated. I don't care." And she left.
right?
She left.
But it's
Like,
he's like, Dave, shake my hand and you're not going up. But I'm planning to backdoor you. But if you don't, shake my hand, then I'm gonna make you the number one target. It's like you already said it. What are you even wasting your breath for, Memphis? Like this is like the biggest waste of time. Do you like feel
It's
good?
almost like he's like, it's not good enough that I'm targeting David. I have to show how I'm going to humiliate him so that people will think, well, at least we're strategically good. Maybe that they know that they're sort of a villain portrayal, and now that they think that the best way to push through is just to show that they are Dr. Will, like, if you will, like, just kind of playing everybody and enjoying them while they do it.
You have to be entertaining to do the Dr. Will thing. You can't just be like a game bot.
Dr. Will never won competitions.
Yeah.
For a good portion.
Yeah, Dr. Will was able to figure out how to socially just dominate everybody, and figured out how to get other people to attack each other. And Memphis is just like got this giant alliance that just is a huge shield for him and protects him, because everybody within that alliance is like a brainwashed. No, the alliance. No, the alliance. Like none of them.
Yeah, Christmas is party whip, and she does a pretty good job at it.
Yeah, her and Cody obviously always wants to keep it the same. So does Enzo, and so does Tyler. So all those guys are.
Enzo's not even in the alliance.
I know but he is. Let's face it.
But he kind of is.
But he is.
Basically is.
But he is.
He is. Like if he wasn't, he'd be on the block.
He's
It's
the
so
new
funny.
version of JC. Like when Tyler played the first time. Remember JC?
Yes.
He was never in the alliance, but he always well have been.
Didn't JC make it to the end? Or
I was third, wasn't he?
third
Final 5 or something like
place?
that.
He was
Or
still third place.
I thought
was
it
he
third.
third place?
Yeah, it was him, Tyler, and
Casey?
Casey.
Yeah, those were the final 3. What I remember.
Maybe.
I know. Yeah.
All right.
Just
What?
imagine JC was on this season.
Imagine JC won that season. Would have been amazing.
JC and Casey.
Evil Dick would have lost his mind.
He might have. Yeah, I don't know. Like this whole season so far, guys, has just been kind of everybody that I don't want on Big Brother all at once, and for the most part, it's just kind of like boring and like not fun. We've only had one good episode. It was when Christmas and Bailey got into a fight. The rest of the season has just been a snooze fest.
Last week was fun.
I don't care if they're
Sorry.
When Davon won the veto, that was good.
I don't care if they're making tacos. I don't care if, Nicole and Danny are doing are in a hot tub together with Christmas. Like,
What was going on
falls
with that, by the way? What was going on in that hot
And
tub?
she falls out. If this was Big Brother Canada, someone would have been in the HOH room and would have just listening in.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, well, why did we get this scene tonight with Nicole?
Just to show how Nicole is adorkable.
She's adorable, Dave, and they're trying to do the girl alliance. Ooh, girl power! We'll take out every girl, and then we'll act like the 3, like they're like the 3 wicked witches, like the up in the cauldron, like in the HOH room. Have a nice soak together. Like what's and they're gonna get Davon out this week, most likely, right? That's so like that's another woman gone.
I thought David's the target.
Yeah, well, David's not on the block, so he's not the target till he's on the block.
Right.
Davon's the target.
Okay, well, we haven't. We can jump into spoilers pretty early tonight because I'd like
There's
to.
there's
What are we
isn't
talking about
many.
this episode? Okay,
There's nothing to talk about this episode. That's what it is. The whole
in
Davon
a
David blow up was nothing because all it is just basically like David is proven to be untrustworthy. The other 2 are not smart enough to realize that Nicole totally lied to them, and Danny and Nicole are going hee in the back, right? Like they can't take a second to say, "Hey, you know what? Maybe David is telling the truth, and we're all telling the truth, and it's obviously Nicole, but that's not for whatever reason going in their heads." that's all to talk about that. Memphis won, which is boring. The tacos, the have-nots,
Tacos
which
are
we already
boring.
covered, and it's like this episode basically had nothing. It was a nothing episode.
It had tacos and hot tubs, Dave. That's what it had.
Can we just we talk just I know that this has technically been covered, but Davon. We just talk about her specifically. Like Kevin and Davon are both guilty of the same thing here, not being able to kind of understand that yes, David can be lying about the power and saving himself, and he can also be telling the truth here. Like both things can be true. Like do you know what I mean? Like they can.
They just have they don't, like Kevin said it in the DR. He's like, I don't trust David. I don't want to work with David, but we're forced to because we literally have nobody else.
Right.
So they have this.
So they don't. It's like they don't want it to be true that they have to work with David.
Yeah, pretty much. That's
and that David might be telling them the truth.
Yeah, but even if he is, they hate it anyway because they don't really want to work with this guy because they don't know if he's telling the truth or if he's lying ever.
Right. You know, so even if he is telling the truth, it doesn't matter because they can't tell.
His thing keeps on getting blown up. Like it blew up already with Tyler, right? He's proven to be an untrustworthy person.
He tells the truth. He tells the truth when he should lie, and he lies when he tells the truth. That's literally basically what he does.
So he has all the wrong instincts.
Well, for Big Brother, he has all the right instincts in life. But that's not.
I was impressed. Like when he's completely defeated, he was like, "Oh yeah, I think it was Nicole that flipped, and I think Danny and Nicole are laughing at us." And he was like, he's the only one who kind of was starting to understand what was going on, but it was too late. You couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, but I don't care. Like to me, like that's what makes. I know Jameel's gonna laugh at me for this, but that's what makes David a better player than Davon and Kevin, because at least he figured it out. Davon and Kevin just like are literally kind of suck. Like they're terrible at Big Brother. Like they
saying
can't
that
even
he
figure out
figured
their
it
own lines.
out, like saying that he figured it out, he didn't really figure it out. Like who is he telling? Who is he providing this information?
He wasn't using it in the house.
DR.
Yeah, but the Davon and Kevin aren't saying that in the DR. They're saying the exact opposite. They're saying
they have motivation to not believe it to be true. That's
sure
why.
they do. Sure they do. But that doesn't mean you should.
You always will. It will always be more convenient to not believe you're totally effed. That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest flaw Big Brother players make, especially when they're not in the majority, when they're not in a great position. They don't want to believe it, right? They want to believe that I'm in a better position, or maybe I'm more in the middle. If you don't really know, then you're definitely at the very bottom. Figure it out and do whatever you can. And sometimes you have to go on a limb and trust a kind of a dummy like David. Like you don't have a choice here.
Or
you
shake
have
a
to
hand with a Memphis that's condescending.
Right. Well,
in no way that did David shaking his hand tonight hurt David. It only really hurt didn't even hurt Memphis. It was just a waste of time, to be honest. But
no, it was just, Memphis. He's just hoping that he can demotivate David for a veto.
Sure.
Because if David can take, even if David wins the veto, and even if
Dave winning the veto, come on.
Why does he put David up? Like he really should have just put David on the block instead of Kevin.
David didn't win no veto.
But let's say he did, and he took Kevin down.
Mm-hmm.
Like, would they still not believe him then, or would they still not work with him then?
Yeah, because they have this. Yes, I do believe so. I think they have these blinders on with David, and they just don't want to work with him. And when they think the lie is the truth, and the truth is a lie, and and that's just what's going on with them. But if you can't, at least I don't know. This was pretty obvious that Nicole probably voted. And Nicole's got a terrible poker face. I mean, come on. They couldn't corner her and put the pressure on her. They're gonna, if you can't only interrogate one suspect, you only interrogate the one suspect, then the cops are just gonna believe that's who's guilty, and they're gonna make it so. That's kind of what happened here, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't get it. So I don't understand. Davon has actually played with Nicole once before. She should be able to read her better than she does. But she can't, and she doesn't. And it's frustrating. Okay, let's just get to spoilers. I want to know what the hell's going on in this house. It's
nothing's going on, Dave. Nothing.
Hold on, let's just get it in. It's just so.
Where's the
Wait.
ice emojis?
Is it icy?
It needs to be like Jack Frost. Like this. It's awful. God.
Okay. Now I'm hearing here. I didn't show it yet, but Daryl has a comment here. Her name is now Dagon, as she is going home this week. That's a dad joke, Daryl. But that's all right. Her name is now
no, he
Dagon.
didn't. I think he
Oh,
did.
no, he
Actually,
didn't.
he did.
Is okay? Have they played the veto yet? Does anyone know?
Yep.
And okay, well, who was in the veto?
Oh.
1 second. I can tell you that.
I want to know who won.
Sorry, 1 second. Okay. Power veto players are Kevin, Tyler, Danny, Devon, Memphis, Nicole.
Danny and Nicole are both in.
Yeah, along with Tyler and
And Tyler's in there too. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, who
Cody
else?
has
Who else?
only been in one veto
And-
competition.
So Kevin, Tyler, Danny, Devon, Memphis, Nicole. Those are the
Yeah.
players.
Cody
All
has
right.
only played in one veto, and
Cody
he's
was
not
the
too
host.
happy about it.
Yeah, Cody was the host.
Okay, so I predict that Devon won.
No. Devon can't win. She doesn't win things unless they're tiny.
David wasn't in it, right?
No.
So this handshake deal. So if David does get backdoored, how will Memphis justify it?
Well, let's get to who
He
won
could just
the
say
deal.
David's lying. What is David gonna do? We made a handshake deal. It's like, no, we didn't. It's like, yes, we did. It's like, why would I do a handshake deal? I always want to backdoor you.
Yes, so.
Who's gonna,
I guess
like-
David still has a jury
Everyone will
vote, right?
believe David. Everybody
Do they
will
care
believe-
about David's jury vote, or is that just like a random thing?
why would they
They
care
would-
about Jerry? Like,
I don't think they care about him at all. Like, I
No, they
honestly,
don't.
like, I don't think they want to be his friend. I don't think like they really want him in the house. Honestly, like, I think he's like this pariah in the house. Like, he's the. I feel so sorry for him.
not
you know,
really,
like
not me.
I just see a guy that like feels like he doesn't fit in with these people. Yet he's kind of being like drug along. He's on this TV show. I don't know. Do you guys get the same vibe? Like, don't you feel sorry, kind of bad
Nope.
for the guy?
Nope, you should have watched the show before it came on.
Well, I agree with that. Yes, but regardless,
Yeah, like you both got a point. I feel like he's out of his depth socially for where he is, and you know it's sad. It's more pitiful.
I don't even know if it's his fault entirely. I think I know you think that, Jaemeel, but I think partly it has to do with like a lot of the pregame alliance stuff that was going on. He had no prayer of even getting insulated with really anybody. Like, you know, so a lot of these factors aren't just his fault, but a lot of them are too. He made some bonehead mistakes once he was in the house, but I don't think he was ever going to get into the big alliance. He had a chance with Tyler, but he blew that. Okay, so Dave, who do you think won the Power Veto?
Tyler.
You're correct.
Ah,
Of course he did.
and he will work with Memphis to backdoor David. That would be his goal, I would assume, because they can't like that David saved himself in the block. That has to be a sort of a little bit of acid in the wound for them. So they are taking down Kevin and putting up David.
So at this moment, Tyler is saying, I can tell that Memphis is annoyed that I won it, and 2, I am not going to do what he wants.
Which is the backdoor of David.
Right. So he's going to leave Noms to
Which
stay.
maybe Tyler doesn't want, because maybe he thinks he can still use David as a number down the line.
I think he does, and he's like, why am I going to keep Devon and Kevin, both who voted to evict me?
Yep. And they feel that Davon is weakens Nicole and Danny because they have fears of the all girls alliance as well.
So Davon is now. So this is Davon is dead woman walking then.
Yeah, she's gone.
Dagon.
She got
Dagon, as Daryl said, she is now Dagon.
This POV and this HOH ultimately became Tyler. Like if Tyler had won the HOH, he would have put up probably the same people. You know, so ultimately,
But he wouldn't have had a backdoor to David playing. If we'd said if Enzo had won,
It would be the same thing.
It would have been like what, David and Kevin maybe instead of Davon and Kevin.
No, they would have put Dave on. I think
probably would have put
Davon stuck her neck out. She was going.
Okay,
going
so
out
in what scenario does Davon stay off the block?
if Davon wins,
If Nicole Franzel won HOH,
she'd bow to the pressure of the house,
Yeah.
and she
Okay.
wouldn't win.
She could.
All right,
even do
then.
a puzzle today, Dave.
Yeah, she can't even win I don't like, but like, so I'm like, why do I want to cheer for this player anymore? I know I drafted her. I'm trying to cheer for her, but she's
Who? Davon?
Davon.
Yeah.
There's no winners this season. There's none.
Fuck. I mean,
There's just pain
the
and a
front runner's
prolonged
making,
sense of
the front
torture.
runner's making tacos because he literally doesn't have to do any strategy. That's what's going on in the house. He's making
Yeah.
tacos.
He's pissed off when he doesn't get his tacos, Jeff.
Good.
I don't have to eat. Oh, so I don't have to eat?
It was the only shot against Cody that we're gonna see this season. It looks like.
Like, yeah, like where he's shown for the brat that he is.
Here's $500,000. Someone will take your tacos away from you at some point in the season. Deal with it.
So what happened during that whole scene was, people said not it, multiple people, and Cody didn't say anything, so he supposedly picked Cody.
So,
Okay, so there was a lot edited out there that we didn't see.
Yeah, that was the whole thing.
There was also a final 3 alliance created between Enzo, Cody, and Memphis called the Wise Guys. So, suck on that.
Okay, let's say Davon goes this week.
Yep.
Did they just get rid of Kevin and David next week before they start going after each other, or
I think
will
if
they?
I were them, I would go after Danny and Nicole next week.
I would put up David and Kevin next week and then backdoor either one of the two.
Because the double's not coming for a while, right? We still got 3 weeks till the double eviction.
It's not this week, so probably the week after or the week after that.
It's the week after that. It's 3 weeks from now.
There's not enough double evictions anymore. It's bullshit.
And it's for the players like Nicole Franzel. She'll never make a big move unless it's a double because she just can't handle that pressure.
She doesn't like making it when it is a double.
She doesn't like it when it's a double.
She likes
She'll do
other
it in a double. You'll
wants
see her.
everybody-
She'll make a move like cut Cody in a double or something like that.
She wants the entire house to get each other out, bring her to final 3. Someone bring her to the end, win the game. That's how Nicole wants to win the game.
Yeah, it's going her way so far. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm like, okay, like, fine. These minority players are going to be knocked off one by one. Not by minority, I mean not in the majority alliance. And then these players have to turn on each other. Like Cody, Nicole, Christmas, they have to. There's Enzo.
They're just going to draw straws.
Yeah,
And that's probably that's the
roll
season
dice.
going to go.
Roll
Draw
dice,
straws.
Everybody's going to pick a number.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Christmas was in that Wise Guys alliance, says Mary.
Oh, okay. Well,
She's not wise nor a guy.
No.
So
That's why people are clocking this All Girls Alliance because Christmas is like the mole.
Is Christmas going to
right. Christmas doesn't believe in all girls alliances, right?
No.
Do you think she believed in the Tub alliance?
She doesn't have to, because if anything happens, like the blood's going to be on Devon's hands.
Are you telling me she was insincere in the all girl Tub alliance that we saw on the show tonight?
Yeah, that's like a blood pact.
Yeah.
When you
Oh,
are all
Courtney
in a tub in your bikinis like that.
Wasn't she drinking like a nutriment, like a protein shake on YouTube?
Did we
I
come
think.
down? Were we down on YouTube?
I think so. I only see Facebook listed on the top. So, yeah, unless like if anything happens, she can just kind of blame Davon if she's included in any type of conversations. It's like it's most likely Devon spread that or let that be known. It's just so tiring and boring.
Yeah, like I don't mean to beat a dead horse here, if you will, but like I don't know what else. I'm just like, well, what can I salvage from this season? Like, what can I take away? Like, or can I look forward to at least? Because yeah, I agree with you. It's boring. This is kind of like watching the Discovery Channel. It's kind of like watching lions eat antelope, and it's a little bit just like okay, fine, but that like, where's
You
the
have
fun?
Janelle winning America's favorite player. That's what you have looking forward.
If that happens, that would be unprecedented. Something like that.
Who else is gonna win it?
I don't know. It won't be Dave On.
Nicole win.
Oh my gosh, that would be brutal. I think I might stop watching Big Brother if that.
If Frenzo wins America's favorite player, that would be so hard to swallow. That would be awful.
Who else is it gonna be?
happens. Janelle.
No.
Yes.
It's not gonna be Janelle. She's
It's
been
gonna
on
be
the show in
Won't be
8
Janelle.
weeks. By the time the finale comes around, she won't have been on the show for like 9 weeks.
People are gonna vote in droves. She's gonna win, and
It's
either
not gonna be
production will
Ian.
have to make a decision about not including her, or
Do you know who should win it? Fucking just give it to David. He's been.
Imagine
look at that knife. Oh my gosh.
I don't know. Like, yeah, I can't imagine it's going to be any of none of them deserve it. None of them deserve to be favorite. That's really the point we're trying to get to. Mary says it's boring. She even has to watch the live feeds, but Devon did say something bad about David that was out of line.
Called him an Uncle Tom.
What does that mean?
You don't know what I mean?
Uncle Tom is like it is basically like, well, it's not a race trader per se. It's like someone who goes out of the way to appease white folks.
Devon is accusing David of this.
Yes.
Yeah, or a black guy that wants to blend in with white people.
Appease, yeah, blend in, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a very nice way of saying he's a race trader, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure what to make of that.
So it's not entirely not true, but it isn't something proper to say. Like, okay, truthfully, everyone's trying to do their best to blend in. You see Davon trying her best to hang out with Nicole and Danny and befriend them, right? Just like how David is unsuccessfully trying to friend up other people. Because in the grand scheme of things, when the weak side of the house is all the minorities and you're trying to cozy up to the power, anyone could be called such a term.
Sure.
Right? So that's why, in truthfulness, it is somewhat true, but you're basically a hypocrite because you're doing the exact same thing. Right? And it's not like he's doing it maliciously. It's not like he's doing it it's not like David tap dance. And he's like, no problem, boss. Gonna tap dance for you. Right?
Okay,
It's not
okay.
that. Okay. So like,
But
it
they're sort
shouldn't
of
have been that. It shouldn't have been
patronizing him a little bit. Maybe
they're patronizing everyone. They're making everyone look stupid. And Davon, Kevin, and David aren't making it any harder for them to do that. Right? So that's why it's kind of like you shouldn't really be calling anyone a name because you look twice as dumb.
for sure. Like, I think Davon has a lot of issues, and in terms of how she connects with what the popular group in the house is and how she treats certain other people who are not. Bailey, the same thing. Like the fact that they were so closely friends and allied is not, I think, complete coincidence. I think it's that, that the fact that they do have a lot of like similarities in how they don't see the forest for the trees. They don't really get that. They can recognize other people. They can see that David is an outsider, right? Or they can see, that certain people aren't in the alliance, but they can't see that they are not.
Because they have a similar perspective. They can see how other people treat David because they themselves are like David, right? And therefore they can see the how it's poor. It's a poor situation, right? But just like how David can't see how he's being manipulated, they themselves can't see it either, right? Because their alliance has a similar perspective, right? So therefore, in comparison, like not in therefore, in comparison to the big alliance, which has a multitude of perspectives where they're all having like a mind share, not a mind share, but like
Groupthink.
a group think where they can like present different ideas and different perspectives, and they have a grander sense, right? They, instead of having only 45 degree vision, they have 360 because they have so many different perspectives at play, right? So that is the reason. That's why you need to diversify. It's good to have people of a similar background, but you still need to diversify your alliance, and their alliance isn't diversified.
Yes, no, and so that's part of the reason that this is so unfun to watch. Like, like like I said, like this committee, when the moment it got together, I've been not for it for the main fact that it's all a bunch of blonde-haired, blue-eyed white people. But whatever, it is what it is. But
Why
oh no,
couldn't
they
they
got
just call
Cody. Don't
themselves the
worry, very
Master
diversified.
Alliance?
They got their
This is the
California.
Master
the
Alliance.
wise guys.
Yeah,
Italians.
Yeah.
right. Italians. Yeah, they're very. How diverse this is. It's so.
Listen, that depends what part of Italy you're talking about now.
Yeah. Let's.
We're
Yeah.
talking
So
up.
Christmas is
We
it,
know what we're
Christmas-
talking down in Sicily.
Christmas
there's
is
a
the
bit of a
diversity. Christmas is the diversity.
Christmases. We got
Yeah.
a girl with a funny name. That's.
It's like their Girl Friday.
And Mary says she doesn't like it either, and I said it. I'm very I don't like this committee alliance. I can't believe that the people that are in it aren't self-aware to know how bad it looks.
But okay, that's not fair. That's not fair. And I'll
Why?
tell you the reason why. Because a lot of times, and that's how systemic racism works. It's because people who are benefits of the system don't realize the other individuals who are not receiving the same benefits. That's why whenever you hear you know people talk about, racism isn't real because I had a hard life too. And it's like, just because you had a hard life doesn't necessarily mean that you didn't have advantages that other people had, right?
Right.
And they're playing hard. It's they're just not playing as hard as they would have to if it was a different situation altogether. So like Danny and Nicole are going out of their mind still, right? They're playing hard. They don't really need to. Cody's the one who's chilling and relaxing, right? Same thing with Memphis. Memphis is like, oh, I gotta put in work this week, and then I could punch out and not sleep for another 4 weeks, right? There are people who are working hard in the alliance. Like Enzo is putting in work, mostly chasing his own tail, but he's still putting in work. So like, people are working hard. It's just that it isn't in a direction that kind of promotes any type of change or situation that would be interesting or kind of goes against the power. It's working towards the power or maintaining the power. So, and then we have our three amigos who are having trouble getting on their horses, let alone trying to go after the bad guys, right? So like,
Right. But okay, but I understand what you're saying, but like in that this alliance is maybe got some merit to it, that some people in it are just playing hard, and the fact that these people are allied and they're all one type of person is a coincidence, I guess. But it's people. It's also just people align with people who remind them of themselves, for whatever that means to them, and so that's the result here. And it's
let's look. How about this? if it was us, Amanda, were in the house and we
Yeah.
all came in separately, and there was a whole group of other people who were from the U.S., would we not just team up with each other?
Yeah, you're right. People
Right?
tend to stick to their
Yeah.
tribe, to their group, to the people they know, whatever
So
it is.
that isn't the fault of necessarily the people involved. It's also the fault of production for not having a diverse group. That's what Big Brother used to be. Like people from different backgrounds all together in a house, and there would be fireworks because of their differences and their I can't talk today. Similarities at play together. They'll work together, they'll fight against each other, they'll break up, they'll make up. But all it is when you have like people, they're going through the same type of process. That's what we see it. They're like a whole bunch of recruits. What type of recruits are they getting? It's people from clubs, people on social media, people want to be actors. It's the same type of groupthink that they're getting people. So they're like, hey, you're just like me. You want to be famous. Let's team up. Right. And then you have the Donnies and the people who don't necessarily like fall in line with that line of thinking, and automatically it's like, where are we going to connect, where are we going to find common ground to team up? I'd rather just team up with Sis, who wants to be an actress or whatever she wants to be. I don't remember what she wanted to do.
Right. Like, yeah, you're talking about Tyler's last alliance, right? That was pretty successful with him. And then now he's just doing the same thing again with this committee.
Yeah.
Where he's, even though he's wanted to leave and come back, he's been very successful with it. Yeah, it's just it's not fun for me as a viewer personally. Like, I have a really hard time watching this play out time after time. But you know, the Fautes, these might, you know, the Davon alliances or whoever is sort of the victim of this strategy, you can't. It's so frustrating because you're like, but you know, we're privileged to have the information from the outside that they don't have. They don't get to.
This wouldn't be that bad, guys, if the villains they had in the house were entertaining. Okay, if Nicole was good and we actually enjoyed her and she was good at the DR and was good at embracing being a villain, then I think it would be a lot more fun. Like Dr. Will and Boogie were villains in a lot of ways. Everyone liked them, but they were assholes. And but they played the DR perfectly, right? Where they
Right.
did their ring stuff, right? And like that's
Hello,
what we're
Jeff.
missing. Hello, Jaemeel. That's what they're missing now. Like, you know, like it should have been like a ring between like Nicole and Danny, where it's like, oh, I totally got David, you know, that alliance, you know, completely implode. They could be having fun with it, you know.
But Nicole
instead,
won't do that.
No, Nicole won't do that because she's obsessed with her image, and you know.
But Nicole grew up
So-
watching Dr. Will, right? She's a fan
Sure.
for growing up. So doesn't she want to be considered the female Dr. Will if she can?
No, she doesn't. She doesn't, because she understands. Look, Nicole has a good sense of what her strengths and weaknesses are, and her strengths and weaknesses are, or like, who is the female Dr. Will? As of what's
Probably-
going on, who's the female
Van-
Dr. Will?
Vanessa?
And
Vanessa.
And was not
She
Vanessa,
didn't even win, so
and she was vilified for how she played.
I thought she was great. I mean, personally,
I would have liked to have seen her in this season. That would have been interesting.
Yeah.
There was no way they could put her in that alliance. No way.
Huh.
They
No,
precast
she
the
would've been-
alliance.
But that's why she would have been good on this cast, because she would have rounded up the minority alliance.
Possibly.
Possibly.
Or she would have been the first person that would have been eliminated.
She could have been that too. Could have been the Keisha.
More like a Janelle. Someone that
They would not let Vanessa Russo last that long.
right.
as
they would
Janelle.
either absorb her into the alliance or they'd get rid of her as soon as possible.
Would you want Vanessa Russo in your alliance?
No, but I wouldn't want like.
I would if I was a dumb player like a David or something.
Because one, she would want to take over. Two, like the emotional swings that she has and her manipulation, I would not want that. When you have players who are trying to be steady like Memphis and Cody, they would not want something like that where like Vanessa was just swinging from like tree to tree. She was doing it skillfully, but compared to it doesn't follow the Derek playbook of like order, discipline, and just mowing down people.
I don't want to watch Derek's game anymore.
No,
tired.
I don't either.
Yeah,
Boring. It's tired.
It's boring, and
Yeah.
stop.
They need to shake up the rules. Then they have to and have some kind of new set of rules, or at least
I
one
think
new
they should bring
rule.
back the coaches. They should do the coaches thing because
Okay, I didn't watch 14, so explain to me why the coaches.
Okay, you need to watch 14. You need to watch 14. 14 was great.
I watched the last episode with Jeff. That's when it was my first episode of Big Brother, and I was like,
Okay,
okay, I'll give this a try.
They
Next
have-
season.
They have Big Brother 14 in like 2 hours. Just watch it.
They have 4 coaches at the beginning. Okay, so they had Boogie, Brittany Haynes, they had Dan
And Janelle.
But
Right.
Dan was the runner-up. How can he be a coach?
No, he was
Dan won.
he was he won, but previously, but
Yeah.
the coaches were not playing. They got to pick the teams, and they had their teams. And the way it was structured was, whoever you picked, if they won the game, you would get $100,000.
Okay.
Right. So halfway through the game, not halfway through the game, but a portion of the game, there was an option to press a button and the coaches would be able to join the game. And that's how they were able to join the game and play as regular players.
Right, and it was a 3-1 vote.
Who was the one who didn't thing? Was it Brittany?
I think it was Brittany.
Yeah.
But,
Right. Okay. Well, I don't know if I like that twist, but fine.
It was just basically like how many weeks of immunity in the house. And then
Well,
you're
I'm
playing-
glad that Dan didn't win that season because I don't think it's fair for him to come in as a coach and then go on to win the game. But
Dan really won that season in the sense that when you're talking about manipulation and like playing from a weakened position, like
Mhm.
Dan didn't win that. Like, did Dan? How many HOHs did Dan win? Not much. Like Dan played from a position of weakness, and he controlled people like so. I don't want to say
HOH.
one
won
one HOH, and it was basically like he was manipulating people like puppets, right?
and so was
like-
Paul though when he played.
Like this is, I'm talking about you were on the block about to get voted out. You have a punishment, and you somehow,
Day job says Ian out boogie.
he did out boogie boogie.
Boogie was the player that didn't want to come back into the game.
Yeah, sorry, Boogie. And what is it? Dan got the person who was HOH to make a deal with him and vote out another coach. Right? He
Like,
convinced. He convinced.
Cool, but
he
I
con-
think
he convinced. Sorry, last one. He convinced. This is final four, and he didn't win HOH or veto. He convinced the HOH one veto to take him off the block to get him to vote. All right, and he was going to vote out Ian so that Shane, which was the HOH Danielle's main squeeze and second trusted ally, to trust Dan. So Dan convinced her to have him cast the vote to get out Ian, to show Shane that he won't screw him over, and then proceeded to vote out Shane. Right?
Yeah, and he just voted Shane out.
Seriously, you watch that and you see the slow moving train wreck, and you see how he just manipulates her. Right? That alone should have won him the game. I mentioned Dan's funeral earlier. That's how Brittany got voted out. Like,
I'm familiar with the legend, and fair enough. But I just think he came in with this huge advantage. Now you're saying it was actually a disadvantage, and you can look at it that way. But
he had an advantage. You're right in that respect, but like, it's not like he just sat back and did nothing, or sat back and
no, and good for her. But even the season that Franzel won, she was one of 4 returning players along with Davon James and Frank, as we all recall, and like it gave all four of those players a huge advantage because they were sort of everyone's starstruck for them, and Dan had this like basically impunity as a coach to start. Same thing with Paul in BB19, where he was the only returning player in, and because perfect storm of getting hooked up with people like Christmas and what's her name, the
Raven.
Raven, Matt.
These people that they ended up getting perfect storm, like you just get these boring gameplays. And here I think like it's Cody this time or Frenzel, even though these people should be starstruck because they've all played before and they shouldn't be that enamored, or they seem to be, or at least they're riding the coattails of who the most popular people are, which is definitely Cody. Cody is the king of this house. No one dare challenge the king.
He needed to eat tacos.
I don't have to eat, huh?
Are you mad?
You mad?
You mad, bro? You mad?
You mad, bro?
Yeah, I'm furious. Tit for tat, I guess.
It just means more tacos from me.
Yeah, I would just be like, great, more food for me. Yeah.
Wait,
no one would
why
make
did
tacos.
why did they do the have not competition? Have not right when after they finish eating a meal.
Or why they have to pick the have-nots right where they're eating dinner. So, and like from the minute like he picks them, does that mean Cody cannot have any more food? Like it's from that second on.
Supposedly, that's why he was like, "I'm going to go get a protein drink."
Okay, he can't finish his tacos that he was making all night. They got it out. They had all the fixins.
Fixins,
as they would say. Where did I got that here?
Baked potato, all the fixins.
All the fixins.
Wood, fire grilled,
Oh,
Outback steak. Plus the brand new Outback Steakhouse Margarita, the grilled pineapple Rita.
Man, I miss Survivor.
for each of you, as of now, who is the winner? JJ
Not me.
Jobs.
Not me. Okay, J Jobs.
Someone silly, like probably
David.
Enzo.
See, David. Hey, that means I win the pool.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I think
I want David to win. I want
me
David
too.
to win.
like if
Just-
I think that at least that's the most interesting question you can ask is who will win, because like there's a reason not to vote for every one of them, right?
Is this going to be a bitter jury?
I just think it's going to be like a disinterested jury.
It depends. It will depend at what point Christmas goes to jury. I think because I think Christmas will work a jury to whatever ends. I think she's
Well,
very committed.
Davon's going to be there too, so there's going to be a lot of like fireworks.
But let's say, okay, pick your final two and how you think that's going to play out. So I'm going to say that my final two are Tyler and Cody.
Oh my god.
And I think that Cody
Tyler should
wins
win.
in the end versus
I
Tyler.
think Tyler should win if that happens.
So I think it will be Cody. I think it will be Cody.
I think it's going to be Enzo and like Memphis sitting beside each other in the end. It's going to be awful.
Memphis and Enzo,
And Enzo could win. Oh my
right?
God.
And he's saying Enzo's the only one liked by both sides.
Yeah.
And if that's true,
You know what, yo? It's true, yo.
if other people realize that, then they will definitely try to get him out. If both sides realize it, they'll say, "Oh, well, we can get him out." Yeah, like I think if Enzo's in a final two, I don't think that he's an unworthy winner, right? Like I don't think he's played a terrible
comp
game.
wins.
It's not a
Yes.
flashy game, but not a.
He has
not-
comp wins.
His comp wins. He hasn't played a lame duck sort of season. Like he's not just been a goat. I think he's been a contributor, not to an alliance, but to sort of a plurality in the house. Like he's sort of adjacent to the major alliance. So, yeah.
When like people find out about the commission, you know, and he's like, I wasn't in it, but I still was able to be adjacent to the thing. It's a compelling argument that he's going to say to people. It's like, how did this dude who wasn't in our alliance, our mighty strong alliance, make it to the end? It's a
Well,
compelling...
that's why. Yeah. for that very reason, won't they figure that out, and then they will realize they have to get him out before that can happen?
But he's insulating himself so well that Cody wants him, Memphis wants him. Like they want him during the end because they think he's a GOAT, but not realizing that he has so many alliances. People aren't going to be comparing notes because they want him to say. So when people are like, let's vote out blah 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 instead of Enzo, they're like, oh yeah, let's do that, because they're thinking, oh my gosh, they're so foolish not knowing that me and Enzo are good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's not making these alliances. People are bringing him into these alliances, and he's not dumb enough to say no.
Right. Okay, so then let's say it's Enzo and Tyler at the end. Who wins?
Enzo.
I
think Enzo still wins.
Jeff, you think the same thing? If it's Enzo and Cody at the end.
Yeah, I think Enzo wins pretty much. I don't know. Cody will get a vote still.
Yeah, I think Cody could win, but it's going to be a lot closer than people think.
What if it was Christmas and Enzo?
Unanimous.
Unanimous for Enzo?
Who is voting for Christmas?
Okay.
The guys aren't voting for Christmas.
Is there anybody who Enzo loses to in the final two?
I can't.
Anyone Christmas loses to? Is that what
No,
saying?
Enzo. Is there anyone Enzo would lose to in a final two?
He could lose to
Maybe Cody.
maybe Cody. Maybe
Maybe Frenzel? You think he'd be Frenzel?
No, I think it would be
That'd be
Frenzo.
close.
Well, she would have automatically 3 or 4 votes.
Yeah, that's my
Because
point.
she'd have all the women.
She might get Davon to vote for her.
And
She might
Ian might vote for her.
Tyler might vote for her.
Tyler might vote for Cody though, or for Enzo though.
Mhm.
Memphis will vote for Enzo. Cody will vote for Enzo. No, Cody will vote for Nicole. It might be Nicole. Might be Nicole.
I think it's gonna be Cody and Nicole. My 2 picks.
Daryl's saying
gosh.
his final two are Christmas and Memphis. Those are the two he
Jeez.
has in our draft, of course. So
I don't know if I could watch that
Let me ask
episode.
you this: what's more likely, Christmas and Memphis final 2, or Cody and Nicole final 2?
Cody and Nicole.
I don't know. Yeah, Cody and Nicole.
I think I still think you could very much see a Cody and Nicole final two here,
Which would just be depressing.
which would prove that this is just professional wrestling that's scripted. So let's. And Mary's saying that Enzo will vote for any guy, so he is the opposite of the girl power. He is the bro power.
Because
So-
he's close with all the guys too.
because
with
they're
Tyler,
guys, or
close
just
with
because
Cody's.
that's just a coincidence.
Because the women have been a little bit too flaky too.
Well, there's some flake in there.
Because Danny, you see how Danny plays in the two.
J-Jaw's asking,
Oh, wait, is the Wise Guys Alliance is what Memphis, Cody, and Enzo?
and maybe Christmas.
Okay, I got you. Who
There's
was
2 of
talking-
them. There's
Memphis-
2 different Wise Guys alliances.
Memphis was talking about this. I'm pretty sure this is Memphis's alliance. So Memphis was like, he wants to take 2 different sets of people to the alliance and have like connecting tissue with like Christmas, because what will end up happening is if someone's like, hey, did you hear about the Wise Guys Alliance? It's like, oh yeah, I did, right? Not knowing which Wise Guys Alliance it is. And then secondly, what I was kind of mentioning before, when they're coming near to the end and they're like, hey, I want to keep this person, thinking that, we're in the alliance together, not realizing it's like, oh, I have a closer bond with the other person. So yes, please, let's look at this person and not person who's on my team. That's his thought process with it. Do I believe in it? Do I believe it will work? No.
You're saying, first one is Memphis, Cody, Enzo, and the
And
second
the other
one
is Memphis, Christmas, and Enzo, I think, right?
Wise Guys strong. Wise Guys strong.
Memphis, Christmas, Enzo. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's it's either Christmas or Cody's in it.
Yep.
Depending on who wins HOH.
Because like the second one makes more sense for Memphis because Christmas will take Memphis, Enzo will take Memphis. So why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah, if we can at least can we just fast forward to that, like to see how these things are going to play out at like Final Seven? Because like trying to get down the
yeah, the slow moving train wreck is painful.
Just to get it, I'm like, okay, like let's see some things. Like let's talk about what these final two scenarios. If it's these two in the final two, or these two in the final two, who wins? But right now, it's like we have every episode we have to just slowly see these players who are just, they're just pathetic, pitiful. Like in
Dave, if this was Survivor, this would be like the episode where they show like 3 evictions in the same episode. They just kind of fast forward.
That's where Survivor sometimes has that benefit that they aren't a week by week and an episode by episode thing. That we have to sort of watch these painful weeks go play out because they've sort of the players in the house have sort of know their boot order, assuming that they get power. And which they have consistently this season, and so we just have to sort of see these not too exciting weeks where we have to watch episodes though that they're selling us false hope, and but then it's also like how unlikable these players become when the smallest little thing doesn't go their way. They just act like brats, like Cody becoming a have-not, but also just if somebody might even win an HOH.
Take my tacos.
Somebody might take your taco, or somebody who you're not in alliance with has power is freaking all of you out. You guys are just like, you're babies. You don't really want to play. You don't really you don't care about us, the viewer, at all, clearly. So it's I'm not saying that you should play as hard as you can. You should play to win, but you're also on a TV show. And
if Christmas didn't want to be a have-not, maybe she should have shoot, no. If Nicole, no. Will she decide to win the POV instead of take the not be a have-not for the rest of the season pass that was during the POV competition? Remember that?
Oh right, yeah. Like it's been a while.
I think Bailey got it right. I think Bailey got it.
Yes, she did.
Yep, and then she went home.
Mary says she needs to go back and look at the taco thing. Was it at the beginning or the end? It was sort of in the middle, wasn't it? The taco thing tonight?
Yeah, it was during the have-not thing. So that led into Christmas being, Christmas, and then it was the Memphis sequence with David, and then it was the nomination ceremony. All of it is just a boring blur, Mary. Just a boring blur.
Well, we hope that you've had fun tonight in this episode and listening to us talk about this episode. We sure do.
I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry, folks, that just seem kind of down and tired. One, it's late, so screw football, for delaying the episode so long. It should get on ESPN and off CBS. I'm sorry.
ESPN's an ABC affiliate, so they can't go over to CBS, right?
They can go on TNT or put it on like whatever somewhere else except the main channel. Don't mess up my Big Brother. Well, it won't be a problem because Big Brother's going to Mondays, right?
Is it?
October 5th. Didn't they say it was going to be moving to?
Oh, we better join the change-ins.
Yeah, but.
J Jobs is saying last day is October 29th, so there'll be 2 double evictions. I think that only 1 double eviction because you have a final 3, right? So this week somebody goes, next week a single eviction, the week after that, then it's the double eviction for day 72, and then there might be a double eviction for after that as well because.
So do a final double eviction on 8 and 6, or 8 and 5.
Triple eviction.
The double eviction is supposed to be week 10. And we're currently in week 7.
So how many people? It'd be 8 people, right? 8 or 7. So go 7 to 5.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. There's
6. Yeah. Or they do a double episode where they have like the look back at the season episode where no one gets voted out going into the final eviction. So
Because after this week, there'll be 9 people left, right? After next week, there'll be only 8 people left after next Thursday. So
and then the week after will be the double eviction, which will go to
no, the
7.
week after that, they're doing the double eviction.
So
According
6
to this,
to 4.
they're doing this double eviction at final. We're saying 9, 8 at final 7 and 6,
Ugh.
which I think is too late to do a double eviction.
That'll be when Danny and Nicole get out.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, probably. I think that they'll get rid of Friendzone in a double, and that will be a great night for us. So,
More pain.
more pain, or more pain.
I'll be a little bit more thing on Wednesday. I'll make this this lemon into lemonade.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. Okay, everybody. So we're gonna wrap up here tonight on Super Mater Brothers podcasting as we cover this season of Big Brother. We'll be back Wednesday night to cover about the veto episode to see what Tyler does with it. We're guessing nothing, and then Thursday again we'll be here to talk about the eviction. And we're expecting Dave on to go, but who knows? So let's see how this all plays out, and then we'll head into week 7. If anything, we'll just be asking ourselves every week: is this the week they do the double eviction, or will it be next week? And thank you, Jay. Thank you for the questions and comments. We really appreciate that, and keep them coming. So make sure to subscribe to our channels. We're here on Facebook and YouTube. You can also get us on Spotify if you're listening, or you can listen to us on other feeds. Just subscribe to us through our RSS feed, which you can get through anchor.com. Also, check out our other channel. We have one called Trivial Debates, where we do our monthly debate show where we fight about music, sports, movies, TV, and more. We're doing that next Sunday. And so we're going to be Jeff and I versus Chris and Jaemeel versus Jody and Kevin, with Kevin's wife Ashley judging. And that's going to be an exciting one.
Haven't submitted any answers yet.
Oh, well, our team already has our answers in, Jeff.
Of course, so. I know. It's part of the strategy.
Yeah.
And plus, I got Chris's his suggestions, and they need some work.
Yeah, I was like, you two are going to have a hard time just agreeing what the answers should be. So good luck with that. But and then our other channel is called Live Long and Podcast, where we talk about Star Trek, all movies, TV, and more. So we are heading. What's our next thing? Tuesday night we do Star Trek Deep Space Nine rewatches. Wednesday nights original series. Thursday we are covering the first season of Lower Decks, and on the weekend we do Star Trek Radio Theater, where we reenact Star Trek scripts with our different people. Yes, yep, there it is. So if any of those topics or or different parts of Star Trek world interest you, check that out. And everything's cross-referenced, so make sure to subscribe. And that's it. I'm Dave Mater. On behalf of Jeff and Jaemeel Robinson, we will